My guest today is Kumiko Sugiyama, a Japanese language coach, a Japanese language trainer, and an ICF Associate Certified Coach. Kumiko helps learners achieve their goals by drawing on their unique personalities and strengths, with a focus on both Japanese language development and communication skills. Passionate about the transformative power of language learning, Kumiko believes that studying Japanese can be a pathway to pursuing one's dreams and aspirations. She is also dedicated to sharing the beauty of the Japanese language and the value of coaching with people around the world. Kumiko, it's good to see you. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Nick-san. I am Kumiko. I'm a Japanese language teacher, so I'm glad to be here today. So thank you for having me today. ありがとうございます。
こちらこそありがとう. It's good to see you. Of course, we met a few months ago, but our backstory is I reached out to you on LinkedIn in September of 2023 when I stumbled upon an article you wrote on Ikigai. And I was really inspired by your article. And I thought, she would make a great guest. So I asked you to join me on the podcast back then, but you felt you weren't ready. Then this May, you attended my Tokyo Masterclass. And you shared with me that your English had improved and that you were confident. And I had you speak on the theme of change and growth. And you touched on that and your transformation. And so I decided to invite you on the podcast again. And now here you are as a guest. So I'm very happy that you're here today. And I was very grateful that you attended the masterclass. So what did you think of the masterclass 2 months ago?
That was so great opportunity to attend the Ikigai Master course, and I met you in person finally. So I was glad to be there. And then some professionals shared their insight or rulefulness and Ikigai. Yes, a lot of things and shared in English. And attendees was the most of the foreign people. The most of them are Japanese. So that was so great diversity to me. So that was so interesting. And so I was so excited to share my story in English in public. Yes.
You did great. Yeah, you did really good. It was a good day. And I was very surprised and honored that I think we had 17 participants and 7 were Japanese. And I was like, wow, Japanese are really interested in this aspect of Ikigai and rollfulness. And I guess we also touched on Ibasho, not just from a cultural perspective, but from a evidence-based or research perspective. Of course, we had Ken Mogi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. So famous in Japan. Mm-hmm.
Very entertaining presentation.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So would you like to talk about your background and what led you to pursuing your current roles? As we said, you're a Japanese language coach, a Japanese language trainer, and an ICF Associate Certified Coach. What led you to those roles?
Okay, thank you. My career started in sales at a trading company. This was because my family had been running a green tea shop, since my grandfather's generation. And I grew up watching my parents work, which sparked my interest in business. I majored in business administration in my university. Within that field, I developed an interest in international trade. And during my university years, I became passionate about learning more about fair trade and volunteered with NGOs supporting Nepal and Bangladesh. I often helped organize events and worked as a volunteer in an international charity events. After working in sales for several years, I got married and had children, and 2 children.
Wow.
It was a major change just 4 years into my career. After that, I spent several years juggling work and parenting, working as a staff at a startup, working at a donut shop, creating recipes, teaching cooking classes for parents and children, and organizing handmade craft workshops for kids. At the time, due to the challenge of being a parent, I needed to let go of my job so I can prioritize my children. Fortunately, a close friend who is a German reached out to me and offered an opportunity to join him in launching his company 2017.
Mm-hmm.
The company provided management training. At the time, there were only about 3 of us. And as the part of my administrative role, I was responsible for almost everything from public relations, customer service, facilitating sessions, and designing workshops. I left the company 2 years ago, but the knowledge, network, and experience I gained there helped me improve my career. That's where I first learned about coaching. At the time, I met you on LinkedIn, so I was amazed to meet you. And then, so the focusing on especially on my work as a Japanese language teacher, I began teaching professionally in 2019 around the time of pandemic. Including my time as a volunteer, I've been teaching Japanese for over 15 years. I currently teach business Japanese mainly to business professionals at language schools and online. I specialize in teaching Japanese to executives and engineers. So my background is longer because my Ikigai is related to my personal experience.
Thank you. It's a very roleful background. You've had many roles.
Yes, rollful. Yeah.
You've also raised a family and you have 2 children. How old are your children now?
So now, my son is 17 years old. My daughter is 16 years old.
Wow, so you're a busy mother,
Yes,
teacher,
yes,
trainer, coach,
yes.
and you can even make delicious donuts, I guess.
I hope so.
Well, that's amazing. So let's go back to your articles on Ikigai that you wrote in 2023. I would like to quote what you wrote in the article. Quote, "First of all, I would like to let you know that Ikigai is something very personal for Japanese people. It is not something we share with others on a daily basis, and we do not directly ask someone, 'What is your Ikigai?' It is very precious and represents a person's way of life." So at the beginning of the global pandemic, to learn more about Ikigai, you did an informal survey of 100 people asking friends, co-workers, people you knew from work, community members, your mother's friends, people from your haiku club, so your Japanese poetry club, your siblings, your husband, and even your children, people basically of all ages, about Ikigai. So do you want to talk about the results?
Yeah, sure. I did survey, an informal survey for my 100 people. Demographics are 30% were in their 30s, 29% were in their 40s, 19% were in their 60s, and 78% were female, and 22% males. It is including my mother's friends, so that's why 60 or 70, and my friend, he is 80s.
I see.
60% said they have anything that can be called Ikigai. The 4% replied, not yet. 10% said it's difficult to answer.
Mm-hmm.
77% said they feel their Ikigai in their work or daily life. 61% of the participants said their Ikigai would brighten their daily life, and only 23% said not so much. 44% said their Ikigai is related to what they like to do. 60% said that it is related to what they are good at. And 10% said it is related to both.
I see. What did you think of these results? Were you surprised or did they make sense to you?
I think it's natural. So 77% said their Ikigai in their work or daily life. It's natural, I think, from my experience.
Yes. This is where the perspective of the West and maybe Japan differs. In the West, it's become a very ambitious goal, finding the perfect dream job. But in Japan, it's found in already what you do, yeah, in your maybe work, your relationships, your hobbies. So you categorized the responses into personal, family, work, social, and environment, which I think is really helpful. So, do you want to share just a few of the responses for each category? So, what were some responses for personal ikigai?
Personal one be to be recognized by others at work and in my private life. A live performance, music, watching sports, being alive itself. To be a healthy mind and to appreciate each day while sharing the feeling of others. To be able to live each day in peace. Calligraphy, study, the crafts. To be able to meet and support various people while doing what I love to create. To enjoy everyday life. Yes, that was nice.
I think we can relate the idea of watching sports to the World Cup. So, right now, the
Yes.
World Cup's on. And when you watch the spectators' reaction, when their team scores a goal and everyone jumps up and they're happy, yeah? This is like a moment of expressed ikigai.
Ah.
When they miss the goal and they're excited and disappointed. Of course, when their team loses and they're knocked out like Japan and Australia, and you see the disappointment on the fans, you really understand, wow, they love this sport. They love this event. And so maybe it is one of their ikigai. So it's interesting when you see Ikigai come alive and you see this aliveness in people and this excitement.
Yes, for sure.
What about for family? Ikigai related to family. What were some examples?
Okay, the family. Okay, the spending time with my family, my children's growth, my
Hmm.
children's happiness, making every effort to keep my family happy and doing everything in our power to do so. Parenting,
Hmm.
spending time with family and friends, the happiness of my family, the happy faces of the people who I interact with, and my children, the health of my family, myself, and those around me, watching and support the growth of my many grandchildren. Like that. Mhm.
I've always enjoyed parenting. It's been really enjoyable to parent my son. And now he's a young adult. He doesn't really need parenting anymore, but we kind of have a playful friendship. I can understand. And then it is amazing when your children grow you know. One day they're just a baby and they can't walk, they can't talk. And then slowly over time, they turn into a little person and then a bigger person. What about you, Kumiko? Do you enjoy parenting?
It's a difficult question, but I would say yes. But so I understand so Ikigai is related to their family because we parents see every day my children's growth. So something happiness, something difficult or hard things to me, to our parents. But so it's not only doing parents, but we have the emotion and feelings to my children. So I really understand how Ikigai is related to my family, not only my children, but my parents, my mother and father and grandfather, like that. So it's so precious to have a Ikigai in their families.
Yeah, it is precious. And I guess one thing I'm sad about is my parents both died before my Ikigai business took off. So my parents, they will never know I wrote a book, or they will never know I'm doing all these things in Japan. And so, of course, I wish I could share it with them, but I can't. So, yeah, family is very important because you want to share your growth and you want to celebrate your wins, and you usually do that with your family first because family are usually very supportive. Um, and I also didn't really meet my grandparents, so I've never really experienced grandparents. I met my father's grandparents once because they lived in the UK and they lived in England. And uh, there are photos of me meeting my grandfather on my mother's side, but I don't remember. So I'm quite envious of people who have grandparents. Anyway, we should move on. So let's talk about Ikigai related to work. What were some of the responses?
Okay, and Ikigai is related to work. To be able to work at what I love and what I am good at. To have a job at any age. Using my creativity in photography, video production. To interact and talk with customers. Creating something that benefits others and accomplishing meaningful tasks.
Hey, it's Nick here. Do you want to become an Ikigai coach? The Ikigai Tribe Coach certification is the only program supported and endorsed by Japan's leading Ikigai experts. You'll learn authentic research, practical coaching tools, and join a global community of coaches making a real impact. Find out more at ikigaitribe.com. Now back to the episode. Nice. I think there needs to be intrinsic motivation at work. So it must be enjoyable and something you're good at. And there's always a relational aspect, communicating with customers or other people. Now we can move on to Ikigai related to people's social life in general, and their environment.
To entertain people, creating sustainable people, organizations, and a sustainable planet, supporting people and things I love, to find something useful for others and keep trying to improve, to make people happy with what I do, to be needed by others, to be useful to others, being appreciated by others, contributing to others and the world. When I make someone smile, or when I am appreciated, helping myself and others live with vitality, to live for the benefit of others, to engage in activities that can be passed on to the next generation, to achieve the best results by doing something together with others, helping those who are struggling or in need, creating a community that continues to grow together. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of different responses, but many of them seem related to helping others, making a contribution, serving the greater good. Ikigai is very relational, yeah, very much about relationships and contribution.
Yes.
Yeah. What's interesting in your previous role, you also designed and led Ikigai workshops. Can you talk about that?
At my previous company, it was as I mentioned, it was a management training company.
Mhm.
One of our business partners was a Dutch company that created a set of coaching cards called Ikigai cards. I combined these cards with our company's management training to create a workshop. As an Ikigai facilitator, I led around 10 workshops using the program.
Fantastic.
That was an interesting opportunity, yes.
Maybe one day we could co-host an Ikigai workshop.
Yeah, I hope so. So I will grow. I learned a lot about Ikigai. We can collaborate in the future. Yes.
Yeah, well, I've shared with you, I guess this is news, maybe news to my audience, but I'm planning to move back to Japan to live. So I hope to do many workshops and retreats and things like that. So we can always work together because you're an experienced coach and facilitator. And you obviously understand the Japanese language as a native speaker, but also as a teacher and trainer. And at the workshop in Tokyo or at the masterclass, we often touched on another one of my favorite words, which is ibasho. And later I learned from you that it's also a word very important to you and that you were very happy to hear, I think, me and Daiki talk about ibasho. So I'd like to discuss this with you. And you think ibasho is probably the real secret to Japanese people's longevity. And I agree. So do you want to talk about ibasho and why you think it's important?
Okay. For me, ibasho comes from being a part of community. The people come together through shared interest. For example, coffee lovers or anime fans. It's a place where people can share what they love and be themselves, no matter how old they are or what job they have. Here are some examples of Japanese language volunteers. As I mentioned, my friend is 80s, so he is I met him in Japanese volunteers. Many of them are retirees who gave their experiences and knowledges in their volunteer work. Most of them are in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, but they are very active and full of energy. They were all kind, considerate, and proactive, running their own communities. I was mainly a member of two Japanese language volunteer groups, and everyone was kind and took good care of me, the youngest member.
Mm,
At the time, so I was 32, but I was the youngest. So the
Wow,
most of the volunteer are senior to me. So I am a kind of daughter of them.
I see.
Of course, they treated learners the same way. Their kindness and warmth shaped the culture of the community, making a valuable place where not only Japanese people, but also learners could interact with one another.
Mm. Sounds like Ibasho to me. And I do like this idea. It is a place where you can be yourself, which reminds me of another Japanese idea or interesting word, jibunashisa, being the person you want to be. And I guess Ibasho gives you that chance. You seem to be a part of many Ibasho. Would you like to share a few?
Okay, I hold a certification related to vegetables. I was a certification that people who love vegetables and fruit. As a part of that, I served on the steering committee of the Tokyo community for 12 years and stepped down that this past May. During the time, I started two communities, one for mother taking care of children, and another for people interested in another countries and cultures. The members are different in age and gender, but what they had in common was their shared interest. I organized events, had meetings, and built the culture, essentially serving as a community manager. Since I had also worked on facilitator in my professional life, I had extensive experience managing communities. And I believe I was able to create an ideal community that was equal, fair, and enjoyable for all members. As proof of this, we garnered a lot of attention and received many words of gratitude from people. My goal for the future is to build a face-to-face Japanese speaking community. There, I hope to teach Japanese food and the Japanese language. I'm studying various languages so that I can talk with as many people as possible.
Well, that's very inspiring. And I hope to be part of your face to face Japanese speaking community.
Yeah, I
So,
hope
well, I
so.
guess that will be in Tokyo,
Mhm.
or where will that be?
I live in Tokyo, but it's easier to meet a lot of people and gather in Tokyo, I guess.
Hmm.
So if I have the place, I can go. So I am finding the places. So I was thinking the online is good, but so after pandemics, I found so the face-to-face communication is important than online. So online is easy to communicate with people. So this is an online conversation with you, but so face-to-face is more energetic, and I can receive more energy and power from them.
Yes, I can relate to what you're saying. And this is why I want to come back to Japan. I want to do in person work like I did for the masterclass. And a few years ago, I did a retreat, and that was really enjoyable. I think in person work and having a physical, social ibasho really will be important for our future. You're right. We spend so much time online. I mean, this is good being able to talk to you and we can have this conversation. But of course, I'd rather we do something like the masterclass and or have a conversation live. So the in person experience really matters. And I think it will be more important as we start to navigate and adapt to AI. So AI seems to be like the next big change in our life. I think social media and handheld devices have really impacted our behavior. And so AI is obviously going to maybe take some of our roles away, take some of our jobs away. I know a lot of people use AI for advice or even
Yes.
counseling, but I think eventually people will realize being with people matters.
Yes, I think so. So as I mentioned, I work in a language school. It is in person. So I started working in January. The 6 month passed. So at the times when I started working, so I'm so worried about in person teaching.
Really?
But so now, so every time I go there, so that learner gave me some energy and sort of big
Mm,
smiles and good feedback like that. So I love the atmosphere and the vibes or some kinds of energetic or enthusiastic of Japanese language. So, and I gained and the how to say day of working. The 4 days working at school, 2 days online work, or the blended. It's a good balance to me.
well, that's inspiring. I'm not surprised. You're a very resourceful, talented, hardworking person. You do so much, and you have 2 children. So it's very inspiring. That's probably why I reached out to you for who is this? Who is this person, Kumiko? She's doing all these amazing things, and she's even talking and writing about Ikigai. I know also you've studied positive psychology coaching, and it's something you do. Would you or do you relate Ikigai and Ibasho to positive psychology?
Within that field of positive psychology, I have long focused on strength and motivation. Within our community, there is an environment where members collaborate voluntarily while leveraging their individual strengths. So, like for example, the people good at writing materials, the people good at facilitating, or
Yes.
people knows about whatever area like that. So this often leads to the personal growth and helps us improve our skills. I used to be uncomfortable speaking in front of others, but the founder of these communities, I found myself giving more presentations. I've since become able to speak in public. With the
Yeah.
support of those around me in overcoming this challenge, the members watched over my growth. The greatest gift I've received from the communities is a sense of security that comes from knowing I'm not alone, that I'm here together with everyone. As a result, I'm now able to speak with you. Too many listeners here. So amazing. I mean,
It is amazing. You've worked hard. So it does sound they're related. It sounds like you're learning and growing, and speaking is a source of Ikigai. And the environment where you learnt these skills sounded like it was a ibasho. You're also ibasho tsukuri
Mhm.
ski dane. You like to create ibasho, yeah?
Yes, so we Japanese collaborate together and create something with a lot of people, not alone.
Mm,
So I like be alone. How to say? So I mean, so reading in the cafe. So my reflection time is important to me. But so I like a enjoyable place. So we talk each other, we shared our interests and chatting with them. So I like both. And then that's
yeah.
why so and then I know or I understand the the benefit of community. All the people gathered and we create something than we expected. So that's why. So I am a creative person. So every time I'm so surprised at something. So we created. So that's why. Yeah, I like that, the community.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you know, I'm researching ibashol now, and you can have physical ibashol, you can have obviously social ibashol, but even private, as you said, like going to a cafe and just reading a book and having your me time, your private time. Yeah. And I think if you have all three, if you have physical ibashol where you feel safe and comfortable, you have social, which is community, and you have private. When you have all three, you have psychological ibashol. Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Mhm.
So it can be a place, it can be a relationship, it can be solitude and privacy, but it also impacts your psychology and your well-being. I like to call, I mean, actually, some researchers call ibashol the social aspect of Ikigai, but I think it's also a place of Ikigai. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
So there are so many amazing words in Japanese.
So I was surprised. So you know the ibasho in Japanese. So what to say in
Mm.
ibasho in English?
Well, we don't have one word, but I guess it could be described your place to be, a place to be, or your place to be. It could be described as a social niche. So you've talked about some people form ibashol around a hobby or an interest, like your example with the vegetables. You had this community focused on growing and maybe sharing or selling vegetables. That's kind of like a niche, but it was social niche. Japan has these unique words, and we don't have a similar word. We have to kind of explain the concept. So it's fascinating.
Okay, thank you. So I think so ibasho means belongings in English, I think. So when I learn management training, so I when I learn well-being, so for well-being, so belongings is needed to raise our happiness. So that's why belonging is important for people, of course, to me. So that's why I like the word belongings. Yes.
Yeah. So that's correct. So when I did my research, ibashol was place to be, but ibashol kan is belonging.
Okay.
Yeah, ibashol kan is belonging. But it is a place of belonging, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Even without people, you could have a feeling of belonging just at a cafe where you're enjoying the time there. But I definitely think it's social. It's very important to have a social ibashol, and then, as you said, you have belonging. You feel needed, uh, and I think when we live with belonging, we're probably going to live longer. But Japan's very interesting because it has these amazing words like ikigai or ibashol. But when I do my research, I know a lot of people when they search online, kensaku suruto, they have like ikigai nai or ibashol nai. Yeah, so lack of ikigai, lack of belonging. And then of course Japan has the social problem of hikikomori
Yes.
and kodokushi, so lonely deaths or social withdrawal. And I think all countries have their problems, but Japan has a unique social withdrawal problem. and also these lonely deaths. It's probably a sign these people don't have ibashol. So yeah, Japan's fascinating. It has this beautiful, rich culture, these unique words, and like any country, it has problems. And Japan has the answer to the problem. But maybe because the word is so common, people don't realize the value of these amazing cultural concepts and words. So it's a very fascinating situation. Um, so I want to go back to Japan and create more ibasho.
Yes.
So maybe we can work together.
Yes, I hope so.
Hmm. So on your LinkedIn profile image, you have the tagline, "Color your life with Japanese." And through your work, I know you have rediscovered some aspects of Japanese culture and Japanese words. How has this changed your life?
Japanese culture is characterized by many traits, including the tendency to avoid direct expression, humility, consideration for others, adherence to discipline, prioritize group action over individual action, and showing respect and consideration for others. I think you know well about Japan's
Yeah.
culture. Of
Mm.
course, similar traits can be found in the culture of other countries as well. Through the Japanese language, I have learned a great deal about the humility and consideration for others embedded in its words. Teaching Japanese is not only teaching its structure or vocabulary, it also involves teaching the culture that lies behind the words. I really love how Japanese people's feelings and values are reflected in the Japanese language. People often say that honorifics are difficult, but to me, they have a very beautiful sound. I feel they are truly beautiful way of expressing humility and conveying the nature of one's relationship with others through language. I'd like to enrich learners' lives by helping them improve their Japanese. That's why I describe it as color your life with Japanese, just like using a color palette to paint the canvas of their life. It's like a poetic.
It is very poetic, but it's true. Japanese has colored my life, the Japanese language. So it is true. Look what I'm doing. My whole life or my work is from one word, Ikigai. So it's
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
if you think about it, even just one
Mhm.
word has changed my life. One Japanese word connected me to you. It certainly colored my life. And I think you're right. Honorifics are interesting. In my research on eBashol, I've discovered this idea of ohitori-sama, like, and
So,
sorokatsu, like,
mhm.
and so when you go to a restaurant, even by yourself, the staff will say, "Oh, ohitori-sama," and this very polite way to say, "Just on your own." Um, and it's gone from hitoribochi to otori-sama. Like, it's okay now to have your private ibashol, yeah, and go to a restaurant by yourself.
Yeah, yes. Mhm.
And so this word ohitori-sama is like a nice way to describe that, yeah?
For sure, yes.
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks ago, I went to the west of Japan and 3 nights, 4 days. And ohitori-sama, alone. How to say the one? How to say one person trip? How to say without my family, only me.
On your own, yeah.
Yes, actually, I have a family, but I went there alone. So people were surprised. Oh, you went alone. Now, some learner asked me, so what your husband thinks about you go to the travel alone.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's okay. So we got married for around 18 years. It's okay. So this is my time, me time. So I value my life, and I like to explore. I have to explore something in my life. So that's why. And then, so when I visit there alone, the people treated me so kind. Everyone talked to me. So I love that. Our conversation happened a lot. So I enjoyed a lot. So I like that. And お一人様 one day, how to say, one person stay? Stay by myself? How to say?
Yeah, just travel on your own or a
Mhm.
solo trip.
So solo trip. Yeah,
Hello?
I love
Yeah,
solo
solo
blah,
trip.
blah, blah. Solo blah, blah.
Mm.
Yes. So I received precious time. So 4 days free time.
Would you relate that to yutori, that time on your own?
Yutori, yes. So I
Yeah.
receive yutori. How to say in English? Yutori.
So this is another unique word,
Mhm.
but usually we describe it as space or margin or room, but it's yutori is a bit different because it's also a state of well-being, yeah? So it's a state of well-being from having space or freedom or margin. You have more time to yourself. So yeah, really good marriage or relationship is where there's yutori and you can have time on your own and your husband's fine and encouraging and say, yeah, go and have some time on your own. So that's like relationship yutori.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. So I agree. Japanese can color your life with all these
Mhm.
amazing words.
Yes,
Mm.
I love yutori. And in my trip, so I received a lot of yutori to think deeply, or a lot of times to reflect me at the hotel. So silent time. And I can choose wherever I want. I can go wherever I go. So it was a yutori to me.
There you go.
Hitori, but I have yutori. That's interesting.
Yeah, you have yutori, you have ikigai, you have ibasho.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting. So inspired me so much. Yes.
Finally, Kumiko-san, what is your ikigai? You seem to have many.
And my ikigai is to make the people around me smile. This stems from my own experiences of receiving help and seeing smiles from many people. In Japanese, there is a phrase called ongaeshi, which means to return a favor to someone with a heartfelt sense of gratitude. As I mentioned earlier, through teaching Japanese, I've witnessed many moments when people grow and their expressions change. And I've received many thank yous from them. Beyond just learning Japanese, nothing brings me greater joy than seeing people smile. Because my presence, learning Japanese is also deeply connected to people's lives. I've met many people who are struggling due to lack of Japanese skills or who had gone through sad experiences. It is precisely these people I want to support through my work. There were many moments when people told me, "Thank you. I'm so glad I met you." Those are the moments that prove my reason for being Ikigai.
Well, thank you. And I'm also glad I met you. And I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really glad I sent you the LinkedIn messages. You know, the first one several years ago. And then I sent you another message earlier this year. And then we met and we've become friends. And now you're on the podcast. Really, thanks to Ikigai, the word, and these other Japanese words.
but Ikigai word connected to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm very grateful for the Japanese language. So do you teach privately?
I don't. So actually, I belong the two companies, and so
Uh,
I like a belong to the company. Okay, someone asked me, so don't you establish your own company? And I'd say, no. So I'm interested in the core teamwork. So
Teamwork?
I like
Nice.
to join the belong in the company and collaborate together and talk to the coworkers and how to say, make
Mm.
make something and with many people or coworkers. So I love a teamwork. So that's why.
Teamwork? Nice.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I was just thinking if people want to reach out to you, maybe they can do that on LinkedIn.
Hmm. Please.
I will share your LinkedIn profile in the show notes.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
It's been wonderful to catch up and talk to you again, Kumiko. It was great to meet you in Tokyo, and I look forward to, yeah, maybe we can work together, collaborate, do some workshops or something
Yes,
in the
definitely.
future.
Hmm. So I'm waiting for you to come to Japan again.
I'll be back. I'll be back soon, and I'll be living there next year. So we will definitely catch up.
Okay.
But yes, very glad I met you. You've you've colored my life with your
Thank
kindness and
you.
friendship.
Hmm.
So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. I enjoyed a lot. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay. Bye.
Bye.